That with more people stop. I'm the deputy chairman of the state of Illinois Black Panther Party, Fred Hampton. We work with anybody and form coalition with anybody that has revolution on their mind. We might not be back. I might be in jail. I might be anywhere. But when I leave, you can remember I said with the last words on my lips that I am a revolutionary. And you're going to have to keep on saying that. You're going to have to say that I am a proletarian. I am the people. I'm not the pig. You've got to make a distinction. And the people are going to have to attack the pigs. The people are going to have to stand up against the pigs. That's what the Panthers are doing. That's what the Panthers are doing all over the world. We're not a racist organization because we understand that racism is an excuse used for capitalism. And we know that racism is just it's a byproduct of capitalism. If we don't hate the motherfucking white people, we hate the oppressor, whether he be white, black, brown, or yellow. We're going to fight racism, not with racism, but we're going to fight with solidarity. We said we're not going to fight capitalism with black capitalism, but we're going to fight it with socialism. Everything would be all right if everything was put back in the hands of the people. And we're going to have to put it back in the hands of the people. And these people in this class have divided themselves. They say, I'm black and I hate white people. I'm white and I hate black people. I'm Latin American and I hate hillbillies. I'm hillbilly and I hate Indians. So we fight amongst each other. Nothing's more important than stopping fascism because fascism will stop us all. That's the people's thing. Socialism is the people. You're afraid of yourself. If you're afraid of socialism, you're afraid of yourself. With no education, you have neo-colonialism instead of colonialism. What we're talking about is there has to be educational program. That's very important because if they don't have an education, then they're nowhere. You dig what I'm saying? They're nowhere because they don't even know why they're doing what they're doing. You understand me? You might get them caught up in because they're poor and they want something. And then if they're not educated, they want more. And before you know it, they'll be capitalists. And before you know it, we have Negro imperialists. Me, myself, you know, I was born in a so-called bourgeois community and had some of the better things you could say in life. And I found that there was more people starving than there was people eating. And I found that more people didn't have clothes than they did have clothes. And I found that I just happened to be one of the few. And I made a commitment to myself that I wouldn't stop doing what I'm doing until all those people are free.
There has to be inconvenience in your spiritual claims. Spirituality is not to conveniently create ritual in your life and surround yourself with your little symbols and to dress your ego with justifications and how merit, status, or evolution is being claimed because you process through disappointment, through expectations, through personal struggles and finances or relationship outcomes. Oh no, you don't get to stop there. I don't get to stop there. We owe debt to humanity for being here. Until you can understand that, you're delusional about your spiritual walk. You're delusional about what you think you're accomplishing in spirituality. And that's part of the problem that we have today. Because you see this title, what I'm saying should not be assumed. I don't want you to assume that I'm talking to white girls with this title, because I'm not. This is universal. In fact, everything I say is universal. However, there is a specific thing that I am probably going to say here when it comes to white women, respectively. However, right now, this is a universal context that I'm referring to. We don't get to desensitize ourselves, remove ourselves from the emotional burden and heartstrings, the effect, the consequences of knowing that if I get involved with that, it's going to transform me. If I get involved with that, it's going to change me. If I get involved with that, I'm going to run into things that I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do. And I might even run into realizing that I wasn't sure who I was until now. Authenticity is a call of the day right now. Not regurgitation. not fancy sayings, not post conveniently on Instagram or YouTube or anywhere else. This is live. This is our world. This is our society. This is our community. This is our nation. This is our portion of what we owe before we leave here. How sweet you want life to be, and it only makes death that much more difficult. We all are going to continue to be inconvenienced because inconvenience is part of the design. Every last one of us. Every last one of us. And what's been happening in 2025 is all demographics, all groups, all nations have been inconvenienced, especially those who thought that they would recover or preserve their convenience by hiding under whiteness or white proximity or white association. Facts. And everybody who tried to do that got their hands slapped. Everybody who tried to do that walked away humiliated with their head down and frustrated. Damn, I thought I was down. Nope, you ain't. Even white people don't get to hide under that in certain classes. Okay? Even white people in certain classes don't have the convenience of hiding under that umbrella, especially if you ain't in the right tax bracket. You know what I mean? If you ain't in the right tax bracket, nope, ain't happening. Now, what I'm about to go into, I already know, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to ruffle some feathers, piss some people off, but you know, that's my job. I'm just doing my job out here. You know what I mean? If I don't, I'm not being me. But anyway, let me acknowledge, first of all, white women is on the ground banging right now. You heard? They in the trenches, they in the mud, and they really banging right now. They're fighting back. They're resisting. They're bringing attention in the right places. You know what I mean? They're channeling in the talking points that need to be heard, the things that need to be questioned. And this is powerful because when women get involved, when women bring attention to things, nobody has the power to resist it. That's what women should understand, is that women's power is not like man's power. I gotta use muscle. I gotta use grit. I have to temper my wisdom over decades to equal the power that a woman has in the tip of her finger. That's what a lot of your females don't understand about yourself, is how powerful you really are, how influential you really are. I cannot move the waves that a woman moves. The moon has control over the waves of water, not me. Understand that. That's your role. You have the power, that influence. I'm doing what I do, but imagine I was a woman. If I was a woman, I would be much more effective. If I was a woman, I would be much more influential. If I was a woman, I'll have all kind of followers coming out the woodworks and whatever else. And then what even further accelerates that is if I was an attractive woman. If I was an attractive woman, nothing could stop me. Nothing. Because it'll be too many people coming in here pulled by the magnetism of the sexual leverage that comes with me in my being as a woman. Understand that, okay? But as a man, and as a faceless man, I just started showing my face on here, but as a faceless man, the approach that I have is 100% my message while anybody is even here. 100%. It's not sex. It's not, oh, he looked good. It's not, oh, I got all kind of clout and validation and all this other stuff, the superficial bullshit. It's 100% my message. Very few people can stand that way, but the infamous can. All right? Understand that. Even if it's an empty audience, nigga, I'm here. I'm going to talk to myself. Fuck it. You know what I mean? Whoever come. But yo, check this out. Women hold the real power in the world, the real influence. They can move waves naturally. Nothing can stop women's power when they conspire together to bring attention, direction, value, or objectives to, a certain movement. Can't nothing stop women. Impossible. It ain't getting ready to happen. So, I say that to say this. It's not only liberal women's job to do it. It's not only liberal women's job to inconvenience herself and spread the light or to move the baton of truth, to brave delivering the message. It's not their job to be the revolution that doesn't get televised. Unfortunately, there are plenty of white women who think that because you might blend in with the conservative crowd, you might have a certain tax bracket or a certain kind of status, or you might make it past the radar, you might be able to preserve your convenience for a while and not get involved. You don't want the negativity moving through your body. You don't want to have to be disturbed because you got things going on in your life. But guess what? Everybody got things going on in their life. Everybody's fucked up. But everybody still got to fight what's going on out here because it directly affects them. But because it might not directly affect you, you feel like you have the convenience of hiding yourself, burying your head in the fucking mud, continuing to powder your nails or whatever else. But that's not the case. If you fail to inconvenience yourself, you will be inconvenienced. Mark my motherfucking words. You will be inconvenienced. Get your ass up and do your portion. Inconvenience yourself before you get inconvenienced. Understand that part. Prior to her, black males had to be examined in the modern world. We had our examination since the beginning. We've been a target since the beginning because we've been the only threat, not the black female. The black male is the threat. We're used to it. The criticism, the judgment, people talking shit about us. We ain't shit. We dusty. We broke. We on demon time. We ain't no good. We this, we that. We grow up hearing that shit everywhere we go. We hear it from our mothers. We hear it from our aunties. We hear it from our sisters. We hear it at the school. We hear it through the neighborhood. We hear it on TV. We watch it in movies. The same messaging. That we are not shit. That we ain't shit. Everything in America tells us that we ain't shit. We're used to it. We're always being examined, judged, criticized, and lied on too. And I would be disingenuous to say that a lot of what's said about us as black males, yes, there has been truth to it. And it would be in our best interest to continue to change those things about ourselves. You see how easy that is? To be honest about yourself? I'm not talking about black women without also acknowledging myself as a black male and the fact that I share in the image and legacy of the nigger shit that we've been doing. You see how easy that is to be honest, to be clear, to be truthful, to be objective about it and not shy away about it. I have the humility to admit. Now, this comes around now to white America. And in particular, white women who are the conscience of the community, as females are the conscience of every community. The examination comes to them. The examination comes to those who act surprised at the legacy of tyranny and exercise of inappropriate power by white males in this country. The abuse of their power. They're going to be inconvenienced with public examination. The cloak of innocence, the cloak of being removed from blemish and fault, error, shortcoming. Nobody's going to be allowed to wear any damn cloaks in this time period. We all have to show up naked before the throne of truth. And all of us have faults and blemishes. And she is no different. And what this comes around to is complicit behavior. Complicit behavior. What this comes around to is indulgence and comfort against the calling to sacrifice when it comes to humanity. This examination takes decades. It's uncomfortable when you're not used to being criticized, questioned, examined, exposed, talked about, read. And what I mean by read, people exposing the illusions around your image and your status, your legacy, your reputation, the claims that you've had about yourself. We all had to go through it. And her turn comes now. And the initiation of that is out of her own mouth. As she realizes, oh, I'm not safe from this system. Oh, they're starting to come for us now. It's about to affect us too. Yeah. Yeah. These power-hungry, desperate, small penis, insecure, white Christian nationalist males, they see you as property too. They only see humanity in themselves. They only see the human status in themselves. They only see the right and entitlement to being treated like such in themselves. And you're the one who lays next to them. You're the one who gives birth to them and raises them up. And you're the one who sits at the table with them. So now the responsibility is highlighted. What are you going to do to transfer influence to the one who you have the closest access to, as you see what he is doing to the society and legacy? The same thing is happening with every people. The Hispanic community, Asian community, Indian community, Somalians, everybody. All people are realizing and getting their wake-up call. All that shit you've been talking about black people, guess what? It apply to you too, because you ain't white. And specifically, you're not a white male. That's your wake-up call. So all that shit you was talking, guess who you gotta study now? Niggas, the same ones you was talking about, so you could get a perspective and understand how to approach this shit. So you could catch the vibe of what type of spirit you gotta have to show resilience to this. So you can know how to show up. So you can get the recipe. Yeah, the same niggas you was talking shit about. All you motherfuckers out there, every flag, every nationality, every language, every culture. I don't give a fuck who listening. All y'all motherfuckers. And the people behind you who was talking shit about niggas. Yeah. And your failure to correct them. Your failure to establish the truth. Your failure to bring enlightenment and understanding to the situation, but being complicit because you don't want to be inconvenienced. Don't wake me, I'm dreaming. Don't mess up my day. Positive vibes only. Change the channel. Crystals and incense. Yoga and high frequency music. Bitch, you're lying. Your spirituality don't start until you get real and address and align with and face the motherfucking truth that inconveniences you and that obscures the image and status that you enjoy to stand in the light of. That's when it begins, bitch. Until then, your spirituality is fraudulent. It ain't real and it didn't even start yet. Our involvement with the current generational crisis that humanity shares as a burden together is a point of spiritual evolution. And if you're not involved with it, you're fraud. All right, I'm going to put it like this. Until we can find the humility to be examined, and also to examine ourselves, we ain't going nowhere. Black American women learned this since the Mars retrograde Gemini transit. That initiated the examination of black women's character and behavior and legacy in the black community. The misandry, the feminism, the inappropriate usage of their powers, the public image, how they approach the sexual marketplace, and it found its zenith in exposure or examination when Kevin Samuels came on the scene. And Kevin Samuels was nothing but a return of Shahrazad Ali back in the 80s when they rejected her. And they celebrated the death of Kevin Samuels. This examination, it comes to a head productively with black American women, as now they have access to reflection and hindsight as they fell down from grace from the corporate world. Falling down from grace not in the fact that they fell into doom, but they fell from the illusion of grace that they assume as part of that corporate world, as it was part of an overall scheme applied by feminism and capitalism or corporate interests. As they practice the dark magic of Harut and Marut to separate man from woman. And they did so like no other could. The black woman stands as the greatest example of how, as a woman, to go straight down the middle and tear down families. She's a professional with divided families and turning children into weapons. She's a professional. She's a professional with showing all women of the world how to talk shit, how to defend the corrupt shit that you do, and how to move with your vagina, your body, your influence in corrupt and predatory ways, even in full-blown prostitution while removing the shame. She champions the hero of those females who long for that pathway because she's the one who has the guts to actually do it. This is not a sweeping indictment of black women, but it's a truthful and honest observation and report of what has been learned and through what means. It's not all of them, but it damn sure is the status collectively that they chose for themselves. And some of y'all can sit out there and play goody two-shoes, pretending like you don't see it or like you don't know it, but the infamous ain't one of those. I'm going to give the real, and fuck what you think. We have to have the decentralization. We have to lose benefit from the system. We have to lose access to status or egotistical outcomes in the system. We have to lose access to defining ourselves through the system. Why is this? Until we detach from attempts at evolution through the system, from attempts at expression of identity through the system, from finding console, comfort, security, for emotional fulfillment through the system, benefit and comforts through the system, assurance through the system, we will never step back and be able to see the system for what it really is. We will never be able to see the truth of it because we're benefiting from it. And because we're benefiting from it, we will fail to scrutinize it. We will fail to criticize it. We will fail to judge it. We will fail to come up with honesty in the conviction, and we will fail to come up with truthfulness in how we are observing what has been or the legacy of what has been. You have to get on the other side of the system to where you no longer have a stake in it. You no longer have rewards in it. So the number 9 Virgo South Node process was to disenfranchise those of us who were destined to be a part of the collective who would bring in the revolution. But it can't happen while we're still benefiting from it. The last straw of that is that women in America are realizing a disconnection from the benefit that they have gained from that system, or getting or can expect from that system. Feminism no longer gives them access to that sense of empowerment through these infrastructures. Since Donald Trump got in office, that has been the consistent disillusionment. I no longer have access to the leverage that feminism used to give me. I no longer have access to the opportunities or advantages through my gender that I used to get in the Great West. America, the West, this is the place where every female who salivates at their mouth for fulfillment through feminist ideals, they look to the West, they look to America. I got to get over there so I could be a fucking feminist. So I can take my clothes off and nobody question me. So I can walk around butt booty ass naked and ain't nobody got shit to say, because guess what? This is a shameless society. There is no shame here. Nobody will question you if you walk outside butt booty ass naked for no fucking reason. Nobody will question you if you live a life where you just have thrown away all of your values. No respect, no morals, or no nothing. You do what you want to do. You corrupt yourself. You hurt yourself. And nobody's allowed to judge or criticize or question you. They all want to come here for that. To champion that. But access to that is no longer as abundant as it used to be, as it takes financing to manifest this ideal. Because what is it without the corporate status that goes along with it? The accolades. I got a PhD, I got this degree, I got this and this and that, and I got this bachelor's in this, and my career is this. Females from the West and in America have fallen in lust, obsession with career. They have worshipped career, the great Capricorn goat. They have worshipped it and sacrificed children and family and marriage and husbands to obtain it. Genocide levels of death to babies from the womb. And that's not an exaggeration. Last numbers between 46 and 41 and 56% abortion rates in the black community. That's genocide, nigga. Fuck is you talking about? That's no different than how many motherfuckers is dying in Palestine. It's no different. It's genocide by the abortion clinic. And these are sacrifices in exchange for access to status and career while also being able to enjoy your promiscuous lifestyle and behavior. We have to lose access to expressions through this Capricorn realm. Because until we do that, we're not going to get to the truth that inconveniences us. Because as long as we're enjoying these things, as long as we're consuming these things, we're not going to want to be inconvenienced. We are going to reject and block anything that inconveniences our flow. We're going to vilify anything that inconveniences our status. We're going to turn on anything that inconveniences our status because you don't care about the truth. You only care about fulfillment of your ego, your status, your career, how much money you're making, your claim of independence, your worldly benefits, your gains, your stomach. That's all the fuck you care about, is getting up that mountain, that Capricorn mountain. And you will sell, sacrifice, destroy anything to get there and obtain it. Anything. Ruthless. Throw away all morals. Betray your conscience, betray your inner child to scale that mountain. And this is why we could never get to the truth. We can't get to the truth because you have too much invested and too much at stake to be honest. So it took for us to lose a lot of things and still losing things, and we're going to lose a whole lot more strategically by the grace of God, okay? It's going to be fair. It's going to be in balance. Don't worry. This is not a message of fear-mongering. But it's going to prepare us to where we now are in position to be a little more honest with what's going on and what has been going on in legacy. What I'm going to go over in this discourse is I'm going to walk through women personally from my own community. And I'm going to bring this around to the fact that white women in America are now inconvenienced with the truth. They're inconvenienced with the reality. White America is inconvenienced with the truth and inconvenienced with the reality. And there's a particular group of white folks who want to hold on to an ongoing legacy that has protected inappropriate powers. White Christian nationalism, and some of those who claim conservatism, the MAGAs, so on and so forth. There's something taking place. And it's a silent revolution. It's not televised. But one thing for certain is that with the decentralization of government and all of us being thrown out to fend for ourselves as the working class people, there's a benefit and there's a gain to this if we seize the opportunity. And that is, the closer you get to having nothing to lose, the more authentic you become. The more resilient you become, the more courageous you become, and the more willing you become to put up a resistance and endure. With an open mind, listen up. Women are supposed to be the conscience of man. They are his conscience. This goes back to her archetypal alignment with the moon, her essence that's founded in Cancer. The moon reflects the light of the sun. It reflects the light of the sun. What is the sun expressing? It amplifies impulses so that they are more readable. What is being expressed? What does it mean? What's being suggested? What should I do with this? Insight. Insight. When men have a particular behavior that's ongoing in a marriage, in a family, in a community, in a society, in a nation, in a demographic, it's to the limitations of the convictions of those women, the convictions of their women. Bad behavior, corruption, iniquities, sin, injustices, abuse, crime, oppression, tyranny, violence, ill repute, all of it, it's something readable to women. They sense it, they feel it, and they anticipate the consequences coming. In their youth, it's what they're looking for. In their youth, it's what they're looking for. They're looking for the adventure. They're looking for the danger. They're looking for the risk. They're looking for the chaos. They're looking for the troublemaker. They're looking for the brown nose, the hard head, the knucklehead. They're looking for the thug nigga, the street nigga, the drug dealer, the bike gangster, all this shit. There's a reason for that. In the folly of her youth, she doesn't know how to differentiate between what her biological needs are and how to compromise an agreement between her biological needs and her integrity. That compromise. I want someone who's proven to be durable, resilient, fearless, impenetrable through the darkness and underworld of this realm, of this life. Because I can't stand safely behind someone who's not orientated with the underworld, the jungle, the woods, the threats that are in the jungle, the threats that are in the woods, the threats that are underground. I can't stand safe and secure behind someone who is not proven on a battlefield, in combat. This is the basic biological reason why young females seek out these type of energies and archetypes. And we can't argue with that, especially if they've been protected and covered all their life. They don't know the other side. So curiosity is going to lead them to experience that which they don't know, not that which they already are familiar with. I've been covered, protected, and loved upon all my life. And now that I'm getting closer to my own autonomy and freedom, my curiosity drives me to know what's on the other side of that. What's out there in that world. And they find the person who they believe can reveal that to them in a way where they absorb the impact and not them. So that ends up manifesting as some fucking knucklehead who's been dragging his knuckles through the streets. And then there's all the tragedies that come as a result of that. But we get it. We get it. It's just biology. Big fucking deal. But the point I'm getting at, later on she learns how to compromise between that biological need of safety and security behind the resilience of man, who made it through the jungle, the rites of passage, but who also has an intention, capacity, and inclination toward more civilized and diplomatic representation of himself through understanding, compassion, sensitivity, care, all of the things that makes him relatable to the family ideal. That's the compromise. We get it. However, when you have a people when you have predators in high places that want to exploit women and arrest their development to where they get stuck in that phase of lacking the wisdom and responsibility to self to intentionally investigate that compromise between the biological need and the legacy need in a civilized man, they remain stuck in those cycles of entertaining and giving babies to fucking knuckleheads. Violent brutes and barbarians. Criminals. Y'all know what's going on out there. And when this pathway is glorified for the sisterhood body in a particular community, like in my community, I got to use me and you translate it for you. Okay, so I got to use me, so-called Black American, my experience, and you translate it for you, and we'll catch up in the middle. But anyway, when there's programming that teaches these young girls to glorify and put the power, the forces, the support, the nurturing behind the worst of our community, she gets stuck there in this arrested development as she is continuously rescued from accountability, continuously rescued from being held to responsibility of her choosing, her use of her freedom and liberty, what she chose to do with her body, what she continues to pop her breast out and feed in the community, and what women choose to feed based on that programming. It gets stronger. It has access to strength and empowerment because it's drawing the breast milk out that fucking titty. These are the ones that you pour your affection into, you pour your love into, you pour your heart into, your devotion into. You stand behind them, you defend them, you justify all of their behaviors and actions, you romanticize, salivate over them. You cover their faults and you hide their blemishes so that you can protect access to your dark desires in your arrested developmental state. Having the perception of little girls and not women. Knowing this knucklehead ain't good for you. Knowing this criminal ain't good for you. Knowing this drug dealer ain't good for you. But time and time again, generation after generation, this is what you choose to give all your babies to. All the eggs in your womb belong to the worst of our men in our community. Not to the carpenters, not to the electricians, not to the plumbers, not to the engineers and the scientists and the brilliant, the nerds, the intellectuals, the thinkers, the political strategists, the cultural movers outside of hip hop. That's not who you reserve your eggs for. Instead, your eggs are for basketball players, entertainers of whatever sort, anybody who's in front of a camera, or anybody who's getting a huge amount of money through criminal activity. So, as a black community, all the fucking eggs that we got is going to these niggas to put legacy behind their names, legacy behind their bloodline, legacy behind their identity, legacy behind their culture, legacy behind their behaviors in ways and actions, making sure that we see more and more and more of them again tomorrow. And the outcome is always the same. Not being able to have best of both worlds. You want the criminal, you want the drug dealer, the knucklehead, the bad guy. But you also want him to be the father that shows up, the man who endures the ups and downs of relationships, thinks it out, strategizes it, covers you in love and protection and affection, so on and so forth. But the motherfucker can't read and he don't know how to communicate. So the best thing he could come up with is to beat your ass, cuss you out, throw you up and down the steps, fuck your sister and get your sister pregnant. That's the best he could come up with. In and out of prison and you constantly leaving work, bringing bail money down to the jailhouse. Waiting on your check so he could borrow more money to re-up because he keep fucking up the bricks. He keep fucking up the bird. He driving your car with the glitter on the steering wheel. Eating up your groceries from your food stamps in Section 8. He ain't even supposed to be there. You know, this nigga shit that been going on for so fucking my whole life, this nigga shit been going on. And I'm getting to a point, white women out there, I'm about to show you how I'm talking about y'all too. I'm about to show you. Let me walk up to it. I got to start from the personal and work my way up. Understand that? So, what this turns into is the breast milk of our community. I ain't trying to be funny. Let's follow me now. The breast milk of our community. The eggs of our community. The power of console from our women of our community. the nurturing capacity of our community. It's supposed to go behind our visionaries and our builders and our thinkers, our revolutionaries, our teachers, our constructive and creative and innovative minds, spirits, hands, and feet. But oh no, they're boring. They're boring. One thing about a productive man is that he is boring. One thing about a man who has something to contribute to society is he is boring. Why? Because he can only be so through Capricorn, the 10th house. He can only move such productivity through Capricorn. He can only be effective through Capricorn. It's inevitable. Until or unless you mature and come out of the arrested development. As long as you curvy, attractive, young, your titties still sitting up perky and all this other shit, you ain't got time for any man that makes sense. You don't have time for any man that has his head screwed the fuck on straight. That's that nigga shit. You gotta Pookie and Ray it up. And you will stand in line and share yourself with the worst of us. I don't care how you treat me. Just let me be called by your name because you that nigga. Yeah. Don't let these females lie to you about this. Oh, I ain't finna share no man. You're sharing a man every day. And I see it. Everybody sees it. It ain't no secret. That's all y'all do is share men. I haven't introduced anything new. I simply suggested to make it make sense. Come out the closet with it and be honest. But to stick with the point, the toxicity in males in the black community, it continued to prevail because that's what the women wanted. That's what they preferred. They didn't want the alternative until they hit the fucking wall. And y'all know what the hitting the wall means. It means you out of gas. You no longer attracting a bunch of guys. Ain't nobody checking for you. Ain't nobody in your DMs. Niggas ain't trying to fuck. Ain't nobody sending you all kind of Cash App and Zelle and all this other stuff. You know what I'm saying? To get in them drawers real quick. All that shit. Your motion slowing down. You're aging. Now all of a sudden you want a man that makes sense. Now you want somebody who's grounded. Now you want somebody who's mature and about something. Now you want the same man who you knew since the beginning was good for you, but you didn't want to be bored. You didn't have time for that. Ain't nobody stupid out here. Everybody been seeing it. Everybody knows it. You know it. Men know it. They just went their own way and left you to Pookie. But the point I'm making is, when men of any demographic continues a legacy of dysfunction, when they continue a legacy of corruption to the community, where they themselves are harmful to their own community, how do they keep reliving? It's like roaches. I thought I killed that roach, and it's 5 more after to replace that. You kill those 5 roaches, it's 15 more. It's three to every one of the roaches that you just killed. And it just keeps on continuing. And you finally notice you have an infestation. Where's the infestation coming from? It's because that is who our women is interested in fucking. That's who they don't mind nothing in them. That's who they don't mind getting pregnant by. That's who they are obsessed. Enforcing ideals, enforcing romantic ideals over them, attempts at control over them. They insist on it. I have to stand next to the the bad guy. I have to stand next to the knucklehead. No, I know that man is good for me, but I don't want that. I know that is the pathway of my wisdom, but I'm gonna betray that because my pussy is throbbing. I know it would make sense for me to respond to so and so, but my pussy wet. This is a cycle of betrayal to the inner child. It's also betrayal to the conscious. It's also betrayal to the intuition. So what's the outcome? Self-destruction, self-undoing, a plummet in self-esteem, a plummet in self-esteem, a plummet in value, exposure of hypocrisy in the self, exposure of self-hate in the self. When you keep getting the same quality of men generation after generation that does harm to the community and society, you have to look at who is feeding these motherfuckers. Who's consoling them? Who's strengthening them? Who's fattening them up? Who's multiplying their numbers to where every generation we keep seeing these motherfuckers? Who's putting encouragement, incentive, and faith behind them? The wrong motherfuckers. It's the women. It's the desire and appetite of the women. You look at, and I'm going off of personal awareness here, personal observation and awareness. You look at, for example, Mexican community. You look at the Mexican community. Why are Mexican men, old and young, why are they so hardworking? Why is it that their trademark is how hard they work, how devoted they are to their careers, how constructive and ingenuitive they are, how creative they are, how useful they are? Why? Why are they so useful? And why do they keep multiplying in that legacy? Why does that legacy continue and expand and increase every year in the Mexican community? Why? Don't lie. I can tell you why. Because I got boots on the ground, literally. I'm in that world. All over America, I'm in that world. And it ain't just Mexicans, South Americans, Central Americans. All of my Latino brothers out there. I see what's going on. For the most part. And I can say when Mexican community safely, exponentially across the board. It ain't even for the most part. It's all the way across the board, damn near 100%. Their women admire something particular in men. Their women prefer something particular in men, and it's those qualities and attributes that you be constructive, you be productive, you be hardworking, you be useful, you know how to use tools, you can build some shit, you could get some shit done, you're not afraid of hard work. They glorify, appreciate, and champion their legacy in the construction world, in the blue collar status. They don't put them down for it and say, "Oh, I don't want no man that working 9 to 5. He gotta be this and he gotta have that and he gotta have." No, they don't do. Mexican women don't do that. All the exceptions is always going to be exceptions, but for the most part, Mexican women don't do that. They're out there at the construction sites working with these niggas. Yeah, I see it. They out there working with them, and they still have their femininity. They're not hardened, acting all masculine, talking like a man, acting like a man. So all oh, I don't get the soft life and all this other stuff, and a man, need to make me feminine. Bitch, they out there climbing ladders, drills in their hand, hammering shit, building shit, getting dirty, muddy boots. And they ain't bullshitting on these job sites because I seen it. I see it every day. But they're still feminine. They're still soft in their nature. They're still kind. They're not hard-edged and all masculine and manly and angry and hateful. That's not the public presentation that they give. Let me just put it that way. There's a reason why the legacy of Mexican men is the blue-collar, constructive, productive, creative man. The Ogun image of man is what they prefer. Of course, Shango, that goes more to the corporate, that goes back into the corporate and more networking, entrepreneurial, so on and so forth, okay? So, black women decided that they prefer Shango to Ogun, okay? In other words, they prefer Uranus to Mars. That's just fine. That's okay. But what happens when you prefer the shadow of Uranus rather than the illumination of Uranus? That's when it becomes a problem. The legacy that men walk into, it comes from what women preferred to nurture, what they selected in the sexual marketplace of their preference, what they show that they are willing to give their eggs to. Women literally have the power to say, I'm going to give you the option to live again. You should be in the future. A man like you should live tomorrow. A man like you should live 5 times. A man like you should live 10 times. A man like you should live 2 times. I'm going to give you 2 children. A man like you should live 5 times. I'm going to give you 5 children. So on and so forth. We need men like you in the future. That's the power that a woman has. To point at what man gets selected to live again in the future. What characteristics, culture, and habits gets to continue on into the future. She has the power to do that. Now, what happens if there were similar programming in the Mexican community where Khazarians decided, okay, instead of us being parasites to African Americans, we're going to be parasites to Mexicans. And they start infiltrating their culture and seeding all of their music, all of their imagery, all of the movies for them to be thugs and criminals and everything else. And they started brainwashing the females to start preferring those attributes, to start selecting those attributes. And then the Mexican women collectively give all their eggs to the knuckleheads, the drug dealers and the cartels and all this other bullshit. And they start giving their breast milk over to the fucking criminals and gangsters of their community. Who's going to be stronger? Who's going to multiply? Who's going to be here tomorrow and who's not? Who's going to outnumber who? When women are not aware of the power that they have, the position and role that they play in the bigger picture, we're not playing chess, we playing checkers. Women got to understand that revolution is always active. You got to use your pussy for revolution. You got to use your eggs for revolution. So far, some of our communities have been used, the women in their ignorance and arrested development due to the influence of American society, Western society. They have been using a pussy against their own good to their own detriment. against their own flags, their own nation, their own community, their own demographic, using it against it. Because you keep bringing through the life portal the people that keep us behind, the people that keep us down, the people that keep us out, the people that keep us in a bad reputation, the people that keep us fucked up and confused, the people that keep us laughable with the nigger shit. This ain't what's happening in the African community. This ain't what's happening in the Asian community. This isn't happening among, in the Arab and Indian community. They're selecting who should be there tomorrow. They're giving their eggs to who should be there strategically for them tomorrow and multiplying them. Recognizing, wow, these qualities, attributes, and traits in this type of man, if we had 5 more of him tomorrow, I know my children will be okay. I know our community will be okay. Let's send this motherfucker into the future. Hey, get him a wife. Come here. Multiply this motherfucker. We need 5 more of him. Yeah. This guy right here, yeah, he knows how to do this. He knows how to do it. He's good at this. He's good at that. Yes, he is amazing at contributing this and contributing that. Productive motherfuckers who we need in the future. Hurry up and get him a wife. Susie, Sally, whatever. Yeah, come here. Yeah. This guy right here, y'all talk it out. Yeah, we gonna figure it out. Blah blah blah. Marriage, boom boom. Okay, have some babies. Yeah, whatever. Okay, so we are investing in the tomorrow. Now, y'all get the point with that. With white women, y'all know y'all number is up, right? Yeah. God is calling y'all to the front of the congregation right now. Yeah. White women are being called to the front of the congregation right now. And they are responding. They are. White women are responding. In these conservative spaces, if you're a Gemini like me, who's always keeping up with what's going on out there, or whatever, the feedback is very clear. The frustration in these conservative, white supremacist, white national type males out there, they're frustrated with the level of consciousness, insight, clairvoyance, and predictability that white women are tapping into in these modern times. They are reading them their rights. They are exposing them. They are holding them accountable. And they are walking away from their constructs, their belief system constructs. They're walking away from it. And all these particular type of white men could do, all they could do is call them names, talk shit about them. The blue-haired, liberal and blah, 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 woke, you being woke and all this other stuff. Yeah, that's all they could do is talk shit about them. But the point that I'm making is, how long has America suffered from what everybody is finally getting a taste of since 2025? How long has this shit been going on? You know how you walk in a room where something is being done that ain't supposed to be, that's not supposed to be done, and you like, yo, how long this shit been going on? Yeah, how long this shit been going on? You don't want to ask black Americans, because we gonna tell you this shit been going on since the first nail and screw of this country. Since the first nail and screw of this fucking country, this shit been going on, and we have been getting the worst of the brunt of it. But don't nobody care because we black. Suck it up. Get over it. Oh, they're just being victims. Black fatigue. White women are supposed to be the conscience of their men, just like black women are supposed to be the conscience of their men. Just like as a black person, I could say, I and men like me are tired of being represented by the nigga shit. We're tired of being represented by thugs, criminals, drug dealers, the immaturity and hypermasculinity in men, the misogyny. Yes, I beat my chest. I'm borderline, sound like a misogynist, but I'm really not. But I don't mind who thinks that I am. I don't mind that. If somebody thinks that I'm misogynistic, I don't mind people thinking things about me. I don't care. But the music videos, rap videos, and the messaging that goes along in it, and I'm guilty of it. I have indulged in it all my life. But I can't be a liar. I can't be a hypocrite and say that it's not wrong, because it is. It's wrong. And we have been doing so much damage to ourselves and glorifying behaviors and patterns in our community that's not productive, that doesn't raise our level, that doesn't honor our ancestors who sacrificed and died for us to have a better image and status in this world. It's not helping. The glorifying of how many girls you can sleep with and all this other Playboy stupid ass shit, all this stuff came back and bit us in the ass over and over again. We suffered the consequences. We suffered the consequences for very long. I come from the generation of that crack epidemic where that D-boy's image of us first began. Where Khazarians conspired through hip-hop and NWA, and then from there, they started giving big stacks of money for people to put this particular messaging into the rap music so that they could backdoor into their investments in the private prison industrial complex. Meanwhile, the crack epidemic in the black community, which I've seen it live, I was a part of it live, I was there live, my family went through it live, even my mother was strung out on crack cocaine for a short period of time and almost died once over that. So nigga, it's close to ground for me. I have a sibling who is strung out on that. I have a nephew right now who's addicted to that. So you can't you know what I mean? You can't tell me that like I'm coming straight from Chiron with this, and Chiron heals from the truth, the painful truth. So my conviction is valid, nigga. I lived it. I know it. I know all about it. And it wasn't right, but it's what was done to us. And it was fucked up. But that D-boy became glorified. That D-boy became worshipped in the hood. Dapper Dan came up with the style of the D-boy. And from there it took off. Movies, imaging, messaging and music, and females having a wet pussy behind that image. That right there is what solidified and stabilized the image and character of the D-boy that lives eternally in a black community. Eternal. And if women overnight decided collectively, we're not doing that no more, it would change instantly. It would change right away. There wouldn't even be a delay. But that's still what makes their pussy wet. The more attractive of our females, the more they're inclined to like those things. The more attractive they are in our communities, the more likely that they are to gravitate toward those type of persons in our community. And what does it do? Once again, females are life sources. They hold the power esoterically of the womb. So whatever that they like, whatever they approve, whatever they desire, whatever make their pussy wet is exactly what continues to live over and over again, and you can't stop it. That's how powerful they are. But what happens when they're ignorant? What happens when they don't have the proper education, teachings, and enlightenment or consciousness? What happens when they do not understand this about themselves? What happens when they get to a point where the truth is criminalized, where you speak the truth to them or you point out exactly what they're doing, you get criminalized, you get vilified, they come against you. Just like today, Black American women, which I'm not saying all making a sweeping indictment, but Black American women have standardized prostitution. They have standardized prostitution for themselves. It's a prostitution culture in the Black American community. And they're not ashamed of it. They removed the shame during the Obama era through cancel culture. There's no more shame in what they do. They come out in the public naked just like prostitutes. Colorful hair and long exaggerated nails just like strippers and prostitutes. Talking points just like prostitutes. They express themselves just like prostitutes and strippers. Long exaggerated eyelashes. Am I speaking from a perspective where I don't know these things? No, I was a bouncer, a club bouncer for 6 fucking years, nigga. I was a club bouncer for 6 years in nightclubs, including strip clubs. So am I talking that from a perspective that's not experience? No, I'm talking from the conviction of experience. How do y'all think I'm able to be so fucking bold? How do you think I'm able to not give a fuck about what somebody think about what I'm saying? How do you think I get to this place? Because I only say what I lived. Nigga, I lived this shit. I know firsthand. I am a world witness. And when I speak, it's an affidavit, nigga. It's a fucking affidavit. This shit is an affidavit. This legacy is what keeps breeding the worst of the men that show up in our community. And the worst outcomes from those men in the family status and legacy of torn families. So back to white women. This country is a manifestation of the imagination, of the mindset and ideas in its infrastructure. In its infrastructure, not in its creativity, that came from black people, but in its infrastructure is from white folks. And it's also from Khazarians. They work hand in hand, peanut butter jelly. There's never been a time where Khazarians have not been part of the think tank and strategy of how America would be structured. How the systems of this nation would operate. Capricorn and Aquarius. Aquarius is where we change it. Capricorn is where we continued in those toxic, dark, corporate cycles of Khazarians and white men's imaginations. And it included much oppression and destruction. These Indian concentration camps, boarding schools that totally destroyed them by paperwork warfare. And the same thing with so-called black Americans split down the middle. You have the transatlantic slave trade where many came from Africa through Jews. Let me be careful with that word. Through Khazarians' fleets, slavery fleets and enterprise. And then you have the indigenous native copper-tone Moors and tribes who look just like the Africans that you brought over here, and you reclassified and retitled them so that they could be subject to a status of non-descent so that they can steal their land and estate, their rights, and outstrip any treaties, relabeling them as Negro black colored under the Christian black codes and freedmen, telling a pure out flat goddamn lie in history. White men and Khazarians are just total pathological liars throughout history. And the abuse, manipulation, the tyranny, the oppression, the genocide, the paperwork warfare, that's embedded in the infrastructure of this society. It has gone on and on and on. Even after that, the Reconstruction phase, where all literature was to reflect the lie. Jim Crow, total abuse of Black America and Native Americans. And as we went through all these phases, the civil rights movements and so on and so forth, 80s crack epidemics and three strikes rule, stop and frisk, war on drugs, then the Obama era where they deliberately start making motherfuckers gay. All the kids turn out sweet, fucking other little boys in the ass, this weird shit. And white women were safe through every phase of this country except the witch hunting eras. They were protected in this country. Though we have to acknowledge they still were seen as property just like everybody else. But yet his asset, his personal asset. You look at a white woman, you will be hanging on a tree. You talk to a white woman, we will drag you behind a truck. We will tie you up by a rope and drag you down the road in a truck, beat your ass, and then hang you on a tree. If you get one pregnant, we will kill you. White women have enjoyed a safe status in this country, which doesn't mean they didn't face discomforts, inconveniences, but they have been safe. This is the only time in our history where their safety and their comfort is now being threatened. Because the reality is reading finally that he doesn't see you any different. White men do not see white women any different, and that reality is starting to sink in. That in his panic to maintain power and control, in his panic to feel like he's still superior, to keep the illusion going over this nation, over the worlds of the earth. He's getting messy, he's getting desperate, he's getting impulsive, and he's starting to expose, he's starting to show his mask, he's starting to show his true colors. And the true colors go all the way back to where even his wife was just chattel property. Something to drag along, shut the fuck up, bitch, and cook my shit. Have my babies. Clean my house. Put ointment on my wounds. And you better like it, bitch. You're my property. No, you can't vote. No, you can't have no damn credit card. Fuck you want to open a line of credit for? No, you can't have no property, bitch. Don't worry about what we was talking about. Don't worry about what we had a meeting about, me and the other lords of the earth. Mind your business, bitch. Things changed when they left the crown and came over here. They would never want to see a woman on the throne again after leaving what they came from. A full press of misogyny and what's it called? Patriarchy and shadow patriarchy. So this memory's coming back now, because guess what? When you allow one person to be violated in any inhumane capacity, you open the door for everyone to be violated in any inhumane capacity. You should have foreseen this when it came to the DEI, the food stamp talking points, and all the jokes that they had, the little racial slurs. You should have seen it then. You really should have seen it all the way back to the civil rights movement and Jim Crow. The bullshit that they was on. But because Black Americans were so invested in fighting for themselves and fighting for everybody else as well, it was convenient to hide behind the smoke of the fight. It was convenient. You ain't got to roll your sleeves up. You don't have to get uncomfortable. If there is a fight, if there is a resistance, you ain't gonna get hurt. Ain't nobody finna hang you. Ain't nobody finna lock your ass up. You getting away scot fucking free. How many white girls y'all know of, heard of, who got pregnant by elementary age students in these middle schools? Not even high school, in middle school. Every time you turn around, there's some white female that done got pregnant by an elementary school kid. And what happened? A little slap on the wrist. White men number one in pedophilia in this country. But because there's this brainwash of people thinking from this perspective of white greatness, innocence, purity, superiority, and all this other bullshit, you can't see the truth for what it is. You let somebody like Charlie Kirk and many others who was just like him go around talking about 13% of the nation, i.e. black people, are responsible for, what was it, 80-something% of, violent crime, so on and so forth. What is that compared to the person who's number one for endangering our children as a nation? What is the comparison? We don't even need to go into that discussion no more. That discussion gets shut down. I don't give a damn about violence. Who murdered who? Why the fuck is your percentages so goddamn high with pedophilia, playing with little kids, and watching kiddie porn? That takes precedence now. I don't give a fuck about who got shot, who got stabbed, who got beat up. When you walking around here playing with little kids at astronomical numbers, what the fuck is going on with you? And should I be hiding my kids from you, motherfucker? We lost all our common sense. All of it. Selective ignorance. Because it's convenient. Oh, look at those Muslims over there. Oh, those black guys, they're dangerous. Oh, the boogeyman. He wants everybody to believe that there's another boogeyman besides himself. That there's another dangerous person besides himself. That there's another terrorist in this earth besides himself. I have to get this attention off of me because I know I'm guilty of this. So let me point my finger and make accusations so that there's an assumption that somebody else is guilty of what I know I am guilty of. It's like somebody stealing your cell phone and helping you to find it. Nigga, you stole my $20 and you walking around here helping me to find my $20 and it's in your pocket. What type bullshit is that? That's what white men in America, some white men in America are doing right now. They're helping you to look for the $20 that they themselves stole. And white women seen it. They know it. But it's a lot of them that refuse to get involved with actively playing the role of their conscience. The conscience of the men that they gave birth to. The conscience of the men that they married. The conscience of the men that they lay next to. The conscience of the men who they eat at the table with. Because they, unlike everyone else, has immunity in this nation. They have immunity. They're not going to end up hung on some tree. They're not going to jail. As powerful as women's rights is in this country, regardless of how things are changing, and it may be for a limited time that women have the rights that they have in this nation, this is still a nation where the woman's accusation, witnessing, or complaint is still superior. Motherfuckers is going down every day. Dumb motherfuckers, these athletes and shit, millions of dollars, divorces, and having come. I mean, it's like lottery tickets out this motherfucker with marriage. Lottery tickets. They're cashing in. All you got to do is point me to, oh yeah, he did this to me. Yeah, back in '87, he touched my booty. Yo, you know, this is a time where women have immunity in this country. Black women too. How long have they been getting away with fucking murder? But they choose to use their immunity for themselves, black women. They didn't use immunity for the black community. They didn't use it for everybody, for the entire of the black community. They use it for females and daughters, for women and daughters, not even their own sons. That's all they cared about when they did have advantage of access, when they did have advantage of inclusion, when they did have leverage and opportunity politically and socially because of this whole gender game that was being played. But instead of using it to advance their entire community, which consists of man, woman, and child, they only use it for the feminist intentions, their own corporate ambitions and aims to see themselves superior to their male counterpart, and doing everything that they can to collectively see him suppressed. Now look at her. Disenfranchised. Now look at her. Sent home from the plantation. Now look at her. Her degrees don't mean a motherfucking thing. Null and void. Trump put a stop to that. She no longer has that advantage. The same thing with white women. You have immunity, but who are you using that immunity for? Who are you using your protection for? Oh, it has to come to your front door before you get vocal. It has to come to your front door before you get active. It got to affect you before you get active. It has to disturb your fucking tea time before you get active. White women also have this illusion of purity, perfection, and innocence. And it's not true. It's not the case. You just like everybody else. You're just protected. Your image has always been protected in America. Your reputation and status has always been protected in America. You will never know what it's like for media, the infrastructures of societal policies and statutes, rulings, Hollywood, messaging in the music. You will never know what it's like for warfare to be waged on your image as a woman from those levels and from those worlds and from those structures. You would never know what it's like as a white woman. That will not happen to you. It never has happened to you since the witch hunts. You don't know nothing about that. You can't relate to that. You can't begin to know what that is like. It would take you many lifetimes to internalize that into your nervous system. But this one time where it finally occurs to you that it's your turn to lift your voice and use your advantage and use your privilege to restore, to transfer a sense of conscience and accountability, moral conviction or awareness to the white male counterpart. It's too much of an inconvenience. Change the channel. I don't want the negativity. Positive vibes only. Bullshitting and lying to yourself about how you're applying spirituality. You ain't fooling nobody. Going into all this esoteric maze of abstract expressions, applications, symbols, metaphysics, and all this jargon and fancy poetic talk to escape what's really happening. The spiritual work is in the crisis, challenges, and necessities of the collective. If your spiritual view, claim, and conviction does not include the crisis of humanity, of the generation that you stand in, you ain't nothing but a fucking lie. That's what you are. You're a liar and a poet. Hiding behind spiritual claims. Hiding behind it. But you're not practicing it. Because selfishness is not spirituality. Safety and convenience, it blocks and halts and obscures your access to spiritual practice and evolution. It also does not allow you to verify, confirm, demonstrate, or prove your spiritual claims. All of America, and really all of the world, has a serious affidavit, accusation in truth, historical truth, legacy truth, tribal truths, indigenous truth, native truths about what white males have continuously done in the legacy of oppression in this earth. And they're trying to make it about somebody else or something else other than themselves and Christianity. And everybody knows what it is. It's white men and what they have made of this nation. What they have made of the world along with Khazarians and inappropriate powers. Why everybody is suffering together. Everyone is suffering at his entitlement. At his little penis insecurities. Everyone is suffering because of him and Khazarians. All people. But you're the one who's supposed to be his conscience. Oh, well, what does that mean I'm supposed to do? I don't know. Figure it out. We had to figure it out. And we still figuring it out. But you got to figure it out. That's part of the spiritual evolution, is that you must figure it out. You must come up with a solution. You must find a way to make the efforts. You have to find the creativity and humanity to get involved in the outcome. You. Everybody else, we ain't had no instructions. We just had to figure it out, dealing with him and what he creates of this nation, of this world. It's not a mystery where the oppression is coming from. Oh, it's these no, actually, it's these corporate execs. It's these corporate powers. It's these corporate men. Who the fuck are these corporate execs? It's Khazarians and white Christian males. There, I decoded the mystery. Who created the structures and the systems by which it operates successfully? Who determines the culture and standards in this society that constantly reads behaviors and standards that corroborates with these norms? It's not a mystery. It's not a mystery who has held eternal power in this nation. Inappropriate power. It's not a mystery. Evil doesn't come from the bottom. Evil comes from the top. Who the fuck is at the top and who has been at the top of the motherfucking food chain in this nation? Who? So how the fuck is it a mystery where all this shit coming from?